in 2017, I proposed the setting up of a Center for Contemporary Security Affairs because I saw the need for new approaches to be introduced to the teaching of security studies, and that was actually ignited by the Command and Staff College, Jaji, where I also was brought on board in 2012. That was about 2 or 3 years after the Boko Haram terrorism had become a big deal. It happened that the curriculum of our military officers was not that comprehensive in terms of asymmetric warfare. And then there was need for reorientation because the Nigerian military traditionally was trained to deal with external aggressors. And then when we fought the Civil War, you know there was a clear boundary demarcated. So it was still like fighting an external aggressor. But in the case of Boko Haram was like having an infection in your body, something that is, depreciating your person, and then you cannot just cut off your leg if that is where the infection is, or cut off your hand. You must find a way to fight it anyway without killing yourself. That is the analogy I can give to what Boko Haram constituted. And the Nigerian military found it a bit difficult to go on full offensive against an enemy that was not that visible, that easily blended within the civil populace, and it could even be a little girl that would be the attacker, strapped with time bomb and all whatnot. So while we were still contending with that, the issue of Fulani herdsmen, or banditry, as they would prefer to call it, began to rear its head gradually, but not on a colossal scale, as it turned out to be effectively from, let's say, 2015, 2016, up till now. And these are things that require new approach of dealing with them, not just the old gunboat approach of here is an enemy, aim at it and get it down. Because those who are involved in all these things, they are people that easily blend with the civil populace. Or how do you distinguish an herdsman who is peaceful from one who is not peaceful until there is an attack? We recall that during the time of General Ibrahim Babangida in power, it was discovered that the Nigerian police that was primarily responsible for domestic security had reached a point where he could no longer be left alone to deal with issue of insecurity. There was a huge surge in armed robbery across the country. That was the time Nigerians started erecting prison high walls around their houses, and I began to see people using some barbed wires, even over those fences that were high as Kirikiri walls. And then they didn't stop at that. They now started erecting huge gates on neighborhood entrances, whereby you want to enter Adeniji Street, you will see a huge gate there, and you will find security men there, and you will see notice like bikers are not allowed to pass after 10. This and this, all kinds of instruction. And then people are not done. They will still go and get ferocious looking dogs, keep in their houses, and so on and so forth. So General Babangida realized that things were getting out of hand, how will it be said that under a military rule, insecurity had become the order of the day in the whole country? So he now took recourse in what I have had cause to term civil mobilization for security. And the modus operandi, as we all know, was that each neighborhood will arrange themselves, form themselves into vigilante groups. That was an era where you took turn to lose your sleep. So if those on Rohe in this neighborhood were responsible for mounting security overnight this week, Robi would take, it will be their turn next week, and so on and so forth. That was the incipient stage of vigilantism. But we also reached a stage where that was no longer adequate, because we are not talking of armed robbers or episodic instances of criminality, like armed robbers coming around. We now move to a stage of organized criminality, whereby you have criminal gangs in forests, on highways, in farms, and so on and so forth. And then the need to now start talking of Bakassi boys, OPC, what is it that we did in the Southwest? Amotekun. In the north, they have, in Benue, they have civilian JTF, and so on and so forth, all shades of quasi-police formations. Ago in Port Harcourt, some young boys were arrested overnight by some vigilante groups, and they were burnt alive, and they took record of the burning, and the whole country was horrified. That is the kind of thing. And their colleagues said they went to read somewhere overnight, and that they were coming. They had their laptops and all that, but the vigilante people did not listen to them. And instead of arresting them or handing them over to police, they burnt those handsome-looking, brilliant young boys alive. That is the kind of thing that we experience. We've also seen what happened in the Southwest, when we were trying to contain the, siege by bandits, whereby we veered gradually into nationalism. And then we had some people emerging as champions. And then the whole thing was now going beyond the issue of securing the Southwest, morphing into something else. So these are some of the challenges that attend vigilantism. And they now pose a question that, okay, if vigilantism has this kind of shortcoming, should we scrap it all together? He has some posters there. Should we legalize it? And so on. I believe the discussion will go beyond that.